My name is Charise Stevens. I am the Executive Director of the Middle Georgia Clean Cities Coalition. On Monday, July 31st, we hosted the first ever statewide Drive Clean and Green Across Georgia event. It was a wonderful event, and if you didn't get an opportunity to come to any of the pit stop, have no fear. So sit back, enjoy, and relax.
This is an organization of volunteers who are interested in alternative fuels, alternative fuel vehicles, interested in reducing air pollution, improving the environment, and reducing the dependency on foreign oil. There are about 80 chapters like ours across the country, all coordinated under the umbrella of the Department of Energy. On display this morning are a variety of hybrid cars, alternative fuel vehicles, and flex fuel models that have been provided by General Motors, the Ford Motor Company, particularly Riverside Ford of Macon and Aiken Ford of Atlanta, Honda, Flint Energies, Georgia Power, and the City of Macon. This group of vehicles will caravan down I-75 today to promote alternative fuels and renewable fuel sources. Several of those fuels are homegrown Georgia agricultural products, such as biodiesel and ethanol. Our trek today will make a stop in Macon and conclude in Tifton to kick off the Southeastern Bioenergy Conference that begins tomorrow morning. But first and foremost, let's recognize the corporate sponsors: the National Biodiesel Board, the National Ethanol Vehicle Coalition, the Georgia Department of Agriculture, the Georgia-Florida Soybean Association, General Motors, the Ford Motor Company, Waltall Oil, and Alternative Fuel Solutions. Two distinguished officials are delivering greetings this morning. I'll introduce them in order and invite them to come. We'll be hearing from Dr. Carol Couch from the Georgia Environmental Protection Division and Commissioner Tommy Irvin, Georgia Department of Agriculture. Carol?
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to come today and celebrate with you this kickoff here in Atlanta. I bring you greetings and support from Governor Perdue, and the opportunity to be here on kicking off Drive Clean and Green Across Georgia is really an exciting day. Today you, are moving beyond talk and rhetoric, taking action to show that commercially available and affordable options already exist to save money on transportation fuels, lower oil imports from unstable regions of the world, and reduce motor vehicle emissions. Today you're demonstrating that reducing the amount and/or changing the type of energy needed to move people and goods across Georgia through the use of hybrid vehicles and renewable alternatives for fuels can help reduce fuel costs, break our addiction to oil, and improve air quality. This is good for both Georgia's economy and Georgia's environment. On the economic side, in addition to contributing to a vital and agile and growing economy, transportation itself is a valued industry in Georgia and throughout the Southeast, with thousands of direct and supporting jobs. In 2004, the transportation sector was the largest energy-consuming sector, accounting for 29% of Georgia's total energy consumption. That year, we consumed 13 million gallons per day of motor gasoline and 5.5 million gallons per day of distillate fuel oil, the majority of which was sold for on-road diesel use. Hybrid technology vehicles use significantly less fuel per passenger mile or ton mile. This increased fuel economy reduces fuel consumption, thereby lowering costs for motorists and reducing demand for foreign petroleum. Renewable alternative fuels, such as ethanol and biodiesel, displace conventional petroleum fuels, gasoline and diesel, and will further reduce demand for foreign petroleum. In 2005, all biodiesel production in Georgia totaled roughly 3.5 million gallons of biodiesel and 400,000 gallons of ethanol. If all motor gasoline sold in the state contained only 10% ethanol, or so-called E10, 1.3 million gallons of gasoline would be saved per day. Similarly, if all diesel sold in the state contained 5% biodiesel, or B5, the fuel savings would be 275,000 gallons per day. That's a start, and these savings can climb dramatically with blends that are increased to, for instance, E85 or B20. Because of the relationship between energy supply and demand, fuel savings, lower demand, has the added benefit of driving fuel prices down with resulting cost savings for Georgia motorists. Renewable alternative fuels also support a growing biodiesel energy program here in Georgia, promoting both our farming and our forestry sectors, and thereby keeping Georgia energy dollars in Georgia. In recent years, several biodiesel and ethanol production facilities have begun operation here. For example, in 2004, U.S. Biofuels opened a plant in Rome that converts chicken fat and soy oil to biodiesel. This facility produces 2.2 million gallons of biodiesel in 2005. Another company, C2 Biofuels, seeks to build a plant that would produce ethanol using a cellulosic conversion process that offers many advantages over the current practice of making ethanol from cornstarch. And more importantly, the C2 Bio proposed plant to convert Georgia softwood into ethanol, a technological innovation that would reap tremendous benefits for the state's forestry industry. On the environmental side, hybrid and renewable alternative fuels have the lowest emissions both for ozone forming and fine particulate matter, as well as greenhouse gas emissions of any motor vehicles on the road today. The U.S. EPA has certified some of the hybrid vehicles, such as SmartWay Elite vehicles, as superior environmental performers relative to other vehicles with emissions almost as low as electric vehicles. We now have 24 counties designated by EPA as non-attainment for the 8-hour ozone standard and 27 counties in non-attainment for fine particulate matter standard. The emissions contributing to these air quality problems, which are centered on our urban areas, come largely from on-road motor vehicles, our cars, our trucks, our buses. Reduced emissions from these vehicles will be necessary to help improve air quality and to protect the health of all Georgians. Through better fuel economy, these vehicles also help reduce greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to global climate change. So you see, the vehicles and fuels we witness here today can provide important benefits to Georgia's economy and environment, and this can be done without compromising mobility, accessibility, or convenience, the linchpins of our transportation system. Governor Perdue and the Georgia Environmental Protection Division salutes the Middle Georgia Clean Cities Coalition for this event and for helping us show that there is a viable path forward to cost savings, cleaner energy, and energy independence. Thank you for the opportunity to come and kick off this event today. I hope you have safe travels and happy trails.
You know, we in the Department of Agriculture have been a strong supporter of biofuels for a number of years. We've watched it go up, we've watched it go down. When energy prices get where they are today, it makes our competitive fuels very desirable. I think we have appeared now that we cannot afford to go back to taking less interest and making sure we bring the product, make it available. Matter of fact, we have more market for the product than we have product today. So it's encouraging to me as Commissioner of Agriculture, knowing that the input, the feedstock for all these biofuels is basically agriculture derived. And so I'm going to continue to make sure that we do everything in our power to try to get proper research. We want to thank the University of Georgia and Georgia Tech for the research that they're doing today to make sure we can have the biofuels competitive. I promise you that we in the Department of Agriculture make sure we'll do the things to make sure the quality that reaches the marketplace meets all the high standards that we expect for petroleum products that are given to our consumers today. I want to thank those that are in the distribution business for making sure that we now, as we get more product available, we have more dispensers available to fill up our tanks. That's one of the things that we're lacking today, and I think it gives us the most, challenges for the immediate future to have places where you can go and fill up your tank with either ethanol or biodiesel or soy diesel, whichever your engine might be demanding. And I want to thank the major motor companies for making sure that the new vehicles that are coming on the market today have engines they can burn biofuels without any complications. I think all of these are great challenges for us in the field of agriculture, and we stand ready to do everything we can to make sure that we open the door and make sure the product is safe, make sure the product will do the job. We continue to have a fuel that burns clean, and if we do all of those things, then I think we'll be a step ahead. I want to thank our Forestry Commission for the research that they're doing. They'll play a very significant part when we try to bring pine chips on the scene to make ethanol, and it's a prime thing. The biodiesel is using some byproducts from rendering plants where our chicken plants are located throughout the state of Georgia. It brings a fuel available with very little refining necessary to put it on the market, and let's just keep doing all those things that's necessary to make sure we have plenty of opportunities for the fuel to grow in the future. I'd like to see us make a pledge and a goal within the next 10 years to have 20 to 25% of our petroleum products made out of the biodiesel and bioethanol products available to our consumers. If we can do that, we'd be way ahead of the game, be less dependent on the troubled countries we're having to buy products from today. You only have to turn on the TV to find out exactly what risk is involved out there from the countries that are not friendly to us as Americans today and depend on them for our energy needs. We've got to get out of that trap, and we must do it soon. So I'm looking forward to going with you to Macon and on to Tifton, be involved in the conference tomorrow, and I hope we can retrieve and glean some information to be beneficial for us in the Department of Agriculture to make sure that we do everything possible that can be done to bring these new products on the market in great quantities. Thank you very much.
Among our celebrity drivers and riders participating in the caravan today will be Commissioner Irvin, Mayor Dan Rickerson of Danville, Don Tussing, Dale Stokes, Georgia author Blaine Whittle, Tony Saxon from Georgia Power, David Carr, David Pelton from Clean Cities, Tennessee, Rex Smith, and Chief Hartley and his staff from Macon. Our coalition board also wants to thank Charise Stevens, our executive director, over here in the green jacket, for all the terrific work she did for organizing this caravan. Because you were here today, we're one step closer to arriving at the doorstep of an America powered by renewable alternative fuels. Special thanks to Commissioner Irvin and Dr. Carol Couch for their comments today. But I'm asking all the rest of you to make a personal commitment to drive clean and green by using non-traditional fuels and non-traditional vehicles. Having one of these hybrids will make you the envy of your friends. They'll be pea green with envy. It'll make the environment a little greener. It will reduce the greenhouse gases, and it'll leave more greenbacks in your wallet. So drive clean and green. You've got the green light from all of us at Clean Cities. We're going to load up the vehicles and we're going to caravan out. Thank you again this morning for joining us, and have a safe trip home.
I'm driving today because I've always had a concern about our use of fossil fuels, and I've just had an interest in diesel in particular and electric cars secondly. And I'm thinking that diesel and biodiesel is the way to go. I believe the cities can lead the way as far as alternative use of energy, because the cities can set the example. People see electric cars, vehicles being used. They see biodiesel vehicles being used, and I think they want to try them out. I had a diesel small car back in 1985, a Ford Escort 4-cylinder. It got 48 miles to the gallon. I was really impressed with that. And that's partially why I'm here today. I know what diesel can do, biodiesel. It can really save us on our fuel.
I'm here driving today because I have been involved with air quality planning and transportation planning for quite some time. And now that we're in non-attainment for ozone as well as particulate matter, PM 2.5 fine particulate matter, we are going to need to continue to increase the use of alternative fuel vehicles to help clean up the air. It's a problem that's here with us now, and it's here to stay. And if we want to be able to continue to drive and have the mobility that we like, we're going to have to increase the use of alternative fuel vehicles. I haven't been in it yet. We will find out soon. I don't know if they're going to let me turn the siren on or not.
Yeah, we're here today representing, we brought a new hybrid electric diesel truck down today. We're going to be on the caravan down to Tifton. And this is new technology. There are only 24 of these trucks that have been built and are being used by 14 utilities across the U.S. and one utility up in Canada. We're real excited about this truck. Early tests show 40 to 60% fuel savings over a conventional truck, and a third of that savings is when you're driving down the road, and 2/3 of it's when you're operating on site, because the boom runs off an electric battery pack instead of having to run the diesel engine. Yeah, this truck runs and operates just like a normal vehicle when the driver's running it. Only difference you'll notice is when you first start off, if you don't need a lot of acceleration, it runs just on electric, so it runs real quiet when you first take off. And then if you need extra power, then the diesel engine comes up and gives you power to go down the road. But some of the specifications were, when we spec'd out this truck, was it had to operate as good or better than a conventional truck. We started working on this truck back in 2002 with a company called CalStart, and we brought a group of industry leaders together from the utility industry and from other areas. And when we started working on this truck, we came up with, if we were going to build a hybrid electric truck, what would we want in it? And that was one of the things. If we already had a conventional truck, we wouldn't want a hybrid electric truck to operate, any different. We wouldn't want it to not have as much power and acceleration, plus being able to run the boom and all the hydraulic systems on this truck just like we would on a normal truck. So we built a validator truck. Was the first truck we built. We sent it to an independent test lab. They ran it, and it met all the specifications we wrote up when we first started talking about this truck. So we're real excited. We've got 2 of them here in Georgia. One's going to be running in Metro Atlanta. The other's going to be operating down in Macon. And both of these trucks should be in service within the next 2 or 3 weeks, so you'll see them out on the road.
Working with Clean Cities Middle America has been a benefit for both the Advanced Power Technology Office and the community. We've brought forward technologies that have advanced where we are to where we are today. This vehicle proves that point, that we can get out there opportunities or things that make it better for everybody day to day. Bring out the reduction of dependence on foreign oil, clean the environment, and eventually will save America the cost and expense that they're going through today. These vehicles use energy made in America for Americans, which is where we need to be instead of relying on other nations that are either friendly or not friendly to us. We want to continue to advance this technology. This is just the beginning. We have a long way to go. We've got hydrogen power, electric power vehicles, other technologies that will further reduce our dependence on foreign oil. And we want to continue to develop those technologies, and Clean Cities Middle Georgia does that every day, day in, day out. They're there helping businesses and people do the things that make our environment cleaner and bring to Americans this advanced technology. You might ask what advanced power is. And for today, it is a fuel manufactured using alternate methods other than diesel or petroleum products. It's using things like corn, or here in Georgia, pine is an excellent candidate to make E85, which is a fuel, an ethanol fuel that is manufactured and will be manufactured here in Georgia. It will run on these vehicles. It will be cleaner. It will be clean, help the environment. Another product is B20, which is diesel fuel mixed with ethanol also. It runs clean, it reduces the sulfur and the carbons and pollutants in the air, brings with it a clean fuel, not like petroleum products or diesel fuel, where you see the black smokes that comes out of buses or diesel trucks and trailers that are on our highways today. These clean burning vehicles will reduce that pollution and make it better for us environmentally all the way around.
Today's a great kickoff for an event that'll go through Georgia, through Macon and Tifton today. It's called Driving Clean and Green Through Georgia, and it's an opportunity to really highlight the current technologies and benefits of clean fuel technologies and clean car technologies. Some of the vehicles that'll be on the road today, including those that are available to you and I today commercially, are being done and available to our cities and counties as they incorporate these clean technologies into their own fuels program and their motor programs within their counties. The opportunity to use clean fuels and clean technologies is a reality today, and we're looking forward to events like this, highlighting the ability to and interest for us to capture these great technologies, both in our environmental benefits and in our energy security. The technologies that are demonstrated today are realities today, and they'll continue to undergo improvements as more research is conducted. However, I think we're all beginning to see both green technologies and fuels becoming a major part of our energy resources for transportation into the future, and a growing sector of what will be available to you and I as we're thinking about the choices we make in our transportation every day.
Green may be defined as a color, the color of emeralds or foliage or grass, but it can be something fresh, something new, young, full of life. And today we're definitely celebrating something new and fresh. With Drive Clean and Green, we're endorsing hybrid cars, alternative fuels, and flex fuel vehicles. I'm Dr. Linda Smith, President of the Middle Georgia Clean Cities Coalition. This is an organization of volunteers who are interested in alternative fuels, alternative fuel vehicles, reducing air pollution, improving the environment, and reducing dependency on foreign oil. On display this afternoon are a variety of hybrid vehicles, some alternative fuel vehicles, and flex fuel models. These have been provided by General Motors, Riverside Ford of Macon, Flint Energy's Georgia Power, and the City of Macon. This group of vehicles is caravanning down I-75 today to promote alternative fuels and renewable fuel sources. Several of those fuels are Georgia homegrown products, such as biodiesel and ethanol. Our trek will conclude in Tifton to kick off the Southeastern Bioenergy Conference that begins tomorrow. First, I'm going to recognize our sponsors, the National Biodiesel Board, the National Ethanol Vehicle Coalition, Georgia Department of Agriculture, Georgia-Florida Soybean Association, General Motors and the Ford Motor Company, Walthall Oil Company, and Alternative Fuel Solutions. We have several distinguished guests and officials that are bringing greetings to you this afternoon. I'll introduce them in order and invite them to come to the podium. We're going to start with Congressman Jim Marshall, 3rd District, Georgia. Following him, our Commissioner of Agriculture, Tommy Irvin. Then the Chair of the Clean Air Coalition, Larry Collins, and he's also Mayor of Byron. Following him, Mike Mead, the Chief of the Advanced Power Technology Office at Robins Air Force Base. Gentlemen.
Thanks. I think we need to work on the sound system in here. It's not so wonderful. I am happy to be here, happy to be supportive of this effort and efforts along these lines. You know that the federal government has passed quite a bit of legislation that's intended to encourage developments like this. Individuals can get tax deductions by buying hybrid vehicles. There are all kinds of efforts being made at a federal level for a number of different reasons. It's important to ordinary families that we become more energy independent. You see the kind of prices that people are struggling with at the pump, and by adding competition in the marketplace from alternative fuels, we can improve prices in the long run. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Now, that's in the long run. In the short run, it's very difficult to have an effect on this kind of market. We're trying to do that, but it's going to happen over time. Second thing, just national security. We do not need to be dependent upon foreign oil as we are right now. There are a number of different difficult issues worldwide that we've got to deal with that are complicated by the fact that we are so dependent upon importing oil to this country. So from a national security perspective, it's important that we move in the direction of alternative fuel sources so that we are not as dependent as we are at the moment. Final thing is this. As we move into the alternative fuel area, there's no doubt about it, South and Middle Georgia are going to benefit economically. There are already a number of different $100 million type projects in place at the moment working on this. And then over time, it's expected that in all parts of Middle and South Georgia, we're going to have small plants. Some of them will be producing ethanol from the products that you see right now. Some of them are going to be doing cellulosic ethanol. We'll take advantage of all the biodiesel we can, and it will be good for the economy of Middle and South Georgia. Rural economies generally will profit as a result of this. We're going to go through a difficult transition period. Changes like this don't come easily. There's going to be a fair amount of sacrifice that's involved, but we need to stick to our guns and continue to head in this direction. It will help where prices at the pump are concerned in the long run, where security is concerned. It'll also help our South Georgia economy. So I'm just delighted to be here today to support this effort. And where is my friend, Commissioner of Agriculture, Tommy Irvin? Tommy, you here? Tommy, why don't you come up? You're next. This guy's been great for Georgia for many, many years. He does a wonderful job as our Agriculture Commissioner, and I'm happy to have you here, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, Congressman.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm delighted to be here today and be a part of the caravan that's helping move from Atlanta here to Macon on down to Tifton later today to attend a conference tomorrow that'll be taking place. The main agenda is biofuels and how we can do things at the state level to get more involved. A lot of people don't realize the Georgia Department of Agriculture, in addition to making sure that you get quality fuel, we're involved in making sure that fuel that's blended and sold in Georgia meets the needs for the current day automobiles that will be burning those particular fuels. So we're gearing up to be sure when the ethanol is made available at the pump level, it'll be a product that your automobile will be able to run and operate and do a perfect job of putting out less emissions into the air than motor fuels are doing today. The vehicle I rode down in from Atlanta today was a pickup truck, kind of a large one at that. And I tell you, it was smooth as an automobile. It didn't have any surges in it at all. I was extremely pleased with the way it performed. And if we'll make sure that when we bring this product to the consumer level, and we're making sure that it's price competitive, the market's there. All we got to make sure we're tuned up to make sure we can blend it up to make sure that we satisfy the customer needs. We probably cannot be a major player in fueling these with what we call corn, because we do not grow enough corn in Georgia now to feed our livestock and poultry. But pine chips and other waste material and garbage that goes into the dumps, we got plenty of that. We'll never run short. We'll have a feedstock available to convert any amount that we get capable of engineering and bringing it into the marketplace. So let's look for the future. I think we should set our goal for the next few years to make sure we have 20-25% of our energy needs made available right here in Georgia. And I think the time can come when we can be totally self-sufficient. Wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to look at any foreign source of any of our petroleum products to power our industry, to power our automobiles, to power our farm tractors, I think we ought to set that as an overall goal for the future. And we who are in leadership positions today, if we'll make the right decision, I think it can be done, and I want to be a part of making sure we make the right decision. Thank you very much.
It's a real privilege for me to follow these two gentlemen. First of all, Jim Marshall, who I refer to as an old Mercer guy, and when he talks on defense, he knows what he's talking about. I'm proud that he's my friend, and I went to his school. How about that? And my old friend Tommy Irvin, so long ago, Commissioner of Agriculture. Both of these gentlemen talked about something near and dear to my heart. First of all, defense, and also the Georgia farming industry. I come from a long line of folks who used that corn to make ethanol back in the days, long time ago. That's correct. So I think it's an aliphatic hydrocarbon with 2 carbons, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Some of you guys who know that stuff remember it. Anyway, I speak on behalf of the 14 municipal and county bodies who are members of the Middle Georgia Clean Air Coalition. The first dividend from what we're talking about doing, certainly Congressman Marshall addressed it, is defense of our nation. Second, our farmers in Georgia. And thirdly, a benefit, clean air, the health benefit, the health dividend from clean air. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Today's event is all about improving our environment and reducing our dependency on foreign energy sources. I can tell you today we have the technology to make this a reality. The Air Force is a committed partner to develop advanced power and alternative fuels and energies. The technologies demonstrated here today are the stepping stones that will lead us into the hydrogen economy and energy independency. The Air Force is developing and testing advanced power and alternative energy technologies, other technologies such as hybrid electric drive systems for the Class 8 vehicles, that's your large 18-wheel vehicles. Also fuel cell vehicles and support equipment, hydrogen generation, storage and infrastructure, renewable energies such as wind, solar, biomass and waste. And at this time, the Air Force has fuel cell vehicles operating on bases today. We also have stationary fuel cells that are providing power to facilities. And we will be commissioning the first DoD hydrogen refueling infrastructure by the end of September. We also are testing Fischer-Tropsch synthetic fuels in aircraft, support equipment, and vehicles. The Air Force Advanced Power Technology Office is bridging an energy transition from an oil-based economy to a new energy economy. We are focusing on getting this technology out of laboratories and off the showroom floors into the hands of the users and to the communities. Through collaboration and partnerships, we will develop more ways to create energy and alternative fuels that will further reduce our dependency on foreign oils and improve our environment. The Air Force is proud to be part of this initiative and look forward to working with industry and stakeholders to advance this technology, making it mutually beneficial for both commercial and military. In closing, I'd like to thank the Middle Georgia Clean Cities Coalition for sponsoring this event and for the great partnership with the Air Force to help educate the public and to bring this technology out into our daily lives. Thank you very much.
Also joining us today is the chair of the Alternative Fuels Committee on the Clean Air Coalition, Commissioner Ned Sanders. Would you come and bring a few words?
What we're doing today is in furtherance of something that we started several years ago. When EPA and EPD came out with a preliminary designation of non-attainment for Bibb County and Monroe County and Houston County, that alerted us to the fact that we had some serious issues to address, and it alerted us to the fact that no one county, no one city was going to address those issues and make this bad omen of non-attainment go away. And so we formed voluntarily, and before the hammer fell, we formed voluntarily the Middle Georgia Clean Air Coalition, and then we collaborated with the Middle Georgia Clean Cities Coalition. And so a partnership developed between those two organizations and the Clean Cities primarily of Macon, the Middle Georgia Clean Air Coalition of 7 cities and 13 counties, because pollution knows no geographic boundaries. The wind blows and it brings it to other parts of the state. So the idea is to clean up our own region, and that's what we did by joining together, and we formed formally a organization, the Middle Georgia Clean Air Coalition, and we started contacting our members of our legislative delegation in Washington and in Atlanta to first of all let them know what we're doing, and secondly to seek some support from them, in which we do have support from them. Congressman, I want to thank you for your effort in that regard, and the other members, Bill Stembridge back there, Senator Saxby Chambliss, and also Senator Isaacson. All of them worked with us to help us get started, and we're underway at the present time with $4.5 million to start addressing the issues of Middle Georgia pollution, and to make sure that hopefully in the next couple of years we'll get Bibb County and that part of Monroe County off of the non-attainment list. So it's a continuous effort, it's a collaborative effort, and we're asking for the effort and the help of the public in helping us to do this. Thank you.
I want to introduce our celebrity drivers and riders who are participating in the caravan today, and I ask them to stand and be recognized as I call their name. Commissioner Tommy Irvin, Mayor Dan Rickerson, Don Tussing, Dale Stokes, Georgia author Blaine Whittle, Tony Saxon from Georgia Power, David Carr, Dave Pelton from Clean Cities, Tennessee, Rex Smith, and Chief Hartley and his staff from the city of Macon. And thank you for driving this caravan from the Capitol to Tifton. Also, I want to publicly thank our Executive Director, Charise Stevens, for the terrific work she does for the Coalition and for organizing this event today. We're closer to arriving at the doorstep of an America powered by renewable alternative fuel. We'd like you to fuel up with the lunch that we have for you in the next room, provided by Kudzu Catering, and listen to some more music by the Joe Stuckey Band. But we also want you to make a personal commitment to drive clean and green by using these alternative fuels and making an investment in an alternative fuel vehicle or a hybrid. Having one of those might make your friends pea green with envy. It'll make the environment a little greener. It'll reduce greenhouse gases, and it'll leave more greenbacks in your wallet. So drive clean and green. You've got the green light from us at Clean Cities. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Ms. Beard. How you doing today? Can you tell me a little bit about environmental management?
Environmental management at Robbins started in the mid-'80s. We had just several people running as a division then. And around 1988, they decided that due to environmental regulations, it grown so large that we had to go to what we call a directorate under the center commander. Okay. So it really got really big. So, and around 1996 is when we started our partnership with the coalition. We became one of the founding stakeholders in the coalition.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what do you see, I guess, the base in the next 5 years for the alt fuel initiatives?
And alt fuels, probably in the next near future, we have two things going. One of them is E85 capability on the base. Part of it would be with our military gas station where we have military service vehicles. The second part is our base exchange would like to offer to our active and retired military, and possibly up to about 3,000 registered vehicles on the base.
Wow.
The second part of that would be probably in the longer range, would try to finally get to a hydrogen economy where we start using fuel cells and also for transportation and for